Welcome to In Her Voice, a podcast created for women who listen to and live by their deepest wisdom, their inner voice. This was made for you, the woman who feels pulled to more, to lead, to create, to dream, and to be a world changer. My name is Kelly Covert, and I am an inner voice coach. Join me here each week as we explore what it means to reach for your inspired potential, all while honoring your worthiness each and every day. Hey there, this is Kelly, and I have a funny story to tell you. So, if you listened to last week's podcast episode, I said that I was going to be doing only interviews this month. And here I am with a solo episode, and this is why. Yesterday, I took a picture of myself with the biggest messy bun ever. And I started thinking about, how we measure ourselves, how we measure up. And there's so many ways that we measure ourselves each day. We look and see how many things on the to-do list we crossed off. If you weigh yourself, that is a measurement. If you measure, literally measure yourself, that's a measurement. Our clothes are measured by size. We measure things by how much money we have in our bank account, or how many clients we have, or how many people told us that we did a good job, or how many likes or comments we got on an Instagram post, right? Our life is so full of measuring. And the interesting thing to me about measuring is that all of those numbers don't mean anything except for what we make them mean. So what I mean by that is the number by itself doesn't mean anything unless we compare it to something. It doesn't mean anything unless we compare it to something. So every time we measure ourselves in any capacity to see where we are, to see how we're doing, we're comparing ourselves. And my post last night, sort of in jest, because I had this ginormous bun on top of my head, was, what if we measured the success of our day by how big our bun was at the end of the day, or by how messy our hair was, or by how dirty our clothes were? All of these ways that we measure ourselves are totally made up and insignificant. We could choose any random thing to measure ourselves with. And my point is, the only thing that you need to measure yourself by is yourself. The only thing that requires attention from you in terms of how you're doing or your level of success is you. How are you feeling? Do you feel successful inside of you? And that requires deciding how that measure will be taken. So I feel that the world has decided in many ways for us what success has to look like in all aspects of our life. And I am here today to say to you, it is time to take that back. It is time for us to decide. It is time for you to decide what your success looks like. And maybe that's the size of your bun at the end of the day. You get to decide. You get to decide what good enough means for you. You get to decide what excellent means for you. When we can lay aside comparison, that is when we are really tapping in to what we need and what we want and what we desire to have in our lives. To me, that is the first time we can truly say, this is me. And it's It's a complete paradigm shift. It's a complete feeling of not even knowing how to navigate that. How do you know how, quote, how you're doing if you're not measuring it against something? You have to ask yourself. You have to be connected with your inner voice. You have to be willing to set aside the quote unquote standards of measurement and decide for yourself. And it is hard because it means you have to be willing to give up what society, what the world, what your family, what your friends say is good, like, oh, you did a good job. What does that even mean? These are early morning thoughts, y'all. I got up this morning with fire in my belly about this. I have not taken a shower. I have not even had a single sip of coffee because I feel this is so important. This is so urgent for us to understand that the way that we measure ourselves matters. And if we're measuring ourselves by some standard of the world or by some standard outside of ourselves, we are doing ourselves a disfavor. We are hurting ourselves. We are damaging our souls. I believe that with all my heart. And that is not to say that you don't need a goal, but when you set a goal, are you setting a goal based on what you think you should be doing or what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to look or how you're supposed to be or where you are supposed to be? Because if you are, that is not serving you. So I'm here today in this very short episode to encourage you, to exhort you, to beg you. I'm begging you. When you decide how you're going to measure up, check in with your inner voice, check in with your spirit, check in with your soul, and ask yourself what that needs to mean for you. And lay aside all the other ways to measure. So for me, Kelly, I'm going to be measuring success by the feeling that's inside of me, by fire in my belly when I wake up first thing in the morning to share something with you, by the size of my bun, by, feeling tired in my body. That is a good day. That is my success. And so my question to you is, what is your success? How will you measure that? And that measurement can either be a gift to you, to your soul, to your heart, or it can kill it. It can damage it. It can hurt it. You get to decide. How will you choose? I want you to remember this. No matter how you choose, because remember, this is all an unlearning process. This is an unraveling of everything that we have been taught to understand. Everything that we learned as kids in school, with grades, with ranks, with what chair you were in band, right? Everything is always about measuring yourself externally, measuring up externally. It's okay if you don't know how to do it yet. I'm not even sure I know how to do it yet, but my gosh, I am going to practice it. I'm going to put this into place. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is the right way for me. So wherever you are on this path, if this is the first time that you're hearing something like this and your mind is exploding, or if this is something that you've been practicing for a really long time and you're still not quite good at it, or if you're an expert at it, wherever you are, I want you to know this today, no matter what, you are worthy.